In the opening scene, we see Adil having an important conversation with his parents. He has studied law but currently wants to study banking and wants his parents' support. His mom does not want him to go into banking, but he is determined to go for what he wants since he has initially satisfied her by studying law. His mom seeks the support of his father, but it seems he is not in the business of forcing career choices on his children. She is not happy that her husband is not supporting her. So, she starts complaining about several things, like the tattoo on Adil, and him starting all over again. But while airing her complaints, her sister, Kafil, enters and the conversation ends abruptly. Adil excuses himself, but his aunt Kafil calls him back to say hello to her. While he is doing so, she encourages him that she also has a tattoo and he should not listen to his mom who is nagging. Before Adil leaves, his mom gives him a peck. Adil's mom and her sister soon begin to gossip and her husband excuses them. In the next scene, Adil and his brother, Amir, are in the car en route to a banking graduate training camp. Amir explains his predicament of having a one-night stand with a lady, Lena, which has resulted in pregnancy. Adil believes that it would have been avoided if he had used protection. Now, his mom insists he own up and get married to Lena, since she is pregnant for him. However, Lena is not yet ready for marriage, and he is not ready to push her. Another issue is that she has a boyfriend. Adil jokes about Lena's boyfriend being baby daddy too. Getting to their destination, Amir drops Adil off and wishes him success. While he is helping him out, Adil sees Adina, a lady he recognizes. His brother advises him to be focused, but he insists he knows her. He joins several others, who are also bringing in their luggage for the training. All through the registration, he keeps looking for the chance to talk with Adina, but he is not able to, as there is strict coordination from the organizers. After the registration, they are camped together for the period of the training. The next day, they start their day with an exercise program. All through, Adil keeps looking for a way to get close to Adina and talk to her. When they are asked to get themselves a partner, he rushes to her and chooses her before anyone else can. He confirms her name, which makes her know that he truly knows her. But Adina gets his name confused as Adio instead of Adil before he corrects her. They have known one another since school, and she has been calling him Adio while they were in school. The exercise section ends and this allows Adil to get familiar with Adina. He asks if they can get breakfast together, and she agrees. Deep in his heart, he is glad she agreed. While they are waiting for their order, Adina is glad to finally meet a familiar face. When the waiter brings their food, Adil receives a call from his girlfriend, Lola, who has come unannounced to see him in Lagos. However, he is not in Lagos. He then calls a driver to go and pick her up from the airport and take her anywhere she wants to go. He apologizes for the call distraction and reveals it is his girlfriend, but he seems like he is not excited. This makes Adina ask why. He reveals that they are currently having issues in their relationship. However, she rolls her eyes at him. He tries to explain how their relationship is complicated, but she feels he is just trying to give himself a license to cheat. Just then, Adina's phone rings and Adil also challenges her to show him that it is her boyfriend. But she ignores him and picks up the call while walking away from the table. The training continues, and while they are all in class listening to the instructor, Adil cannot stop being mesmerized by Adina's beauty. After the class, he walks up to her and proposes that they be partners for the project that is mandated by them. She is not against the proposition, but she is skeptical about him putting in the work, knowing he is from a rich background and will get work regardless. He promises to put in the work and make sure they complete the project. She reveals that she is a philosopher who has decided to go into banking, so she has much catching up to do. He understands her because he is also a lawyer who is going into banking, but he seems to understand banking better than her, so he starts teaching her. The next scene shows them studying together. Their collaboration flows well, and their budding friendship is admirable. However, the only concern bugging Adil is that she always excuses herself to receive a particular call, and he does not know why. After several studies, they give their presentation to their instructor. Adina is sad because she believes she did not do well in the presentation. Adil does his best to encourage her to hope for the best. She notices that Adil is brilliant, which makes her start to like him. Afterward, Adil explains the complications in his relationship with Adina. Just then his brother calls him to give him an update about Lena, his pregnant girlfriend, and while talking, he informs him that he is out with Adina. It surprises her that he has discussed her with his brother. Adil reveals the situation with his brother, and while he is explaining it, Adina feels regret, but he does not know why. She then asks what he or his brother would do in the situation, and he responds that you know what to do if you do not want a baby. His response makes her angry and she excuses herself to make a call. Adil believes that she is going to talk to her faceless boyfriend yet again. He loudly declares that he likes her and even shouts it embarrassingly. The next scene then shows them doing their presentation again, but this time they excel. That same night, Adil invites Adina over for a midnight snack to celebrate. On getting there, she realizes it is a dinner date and they are sitting on the floor. He wants to make the dinner special for her, but she starts making jokes about him being from a wealthy home. She reveals that they went to the same school because she got a scholarship through the church as she is an orphan. He feels sorry for her. She wonders why he is going through the training and not relying on his parents' influence, but he explains that he wants to do it by himself. As they continue talking, an emotional tension builds up around them. He asks the meaning of her name, Adana, and she reveals that it means delicate. He asks if she likes him before he moves close to her to kiss her. Just before their lips can touch, it starts raining and, in a bid to run away from the rain, she falls on him. They start kissing emotionally and end up getting laid. The next day, Adil gets to the park a bit late, and while getting in beside Adana, he hears her telling someone she loves him. He jealously asks if it is her boyfriend or if she has any boyfriend at all. She calms his fears that she doesn't have a boyfriend and confesses that she enjoyed herself the previous day. Adil wants them to create a new moment. Later, Adana joins the other trainees and they talk about posting after the training. They believe she will be posted to Abuja or Lagos, but she seems to want Ibadan for reasons best known to her. Sometimes later, Adil goes to Adana with a gift. She has just sent her final essay, but while telling Adil, he could sense worries in her and encouraged her that they would do great due to the work they had put into it. He confesses that he has always liked her right from when they were in school, but he could not ask her out because he felt he was not her type. However, she reminds him they are just fooling around because they will be posted in the next few weeks, but he refuses to listen. She kisses him to prevent him from objecting, and they end up having a nice time together. Finally, their posting is out, and they go to check where they are posted. Adana is excited when she sees Oyo State because that is where she resides. Adil is posted to Asaba, and he is not that excited because it means they will go their separate ways. Just then he receives a call from Lola, and he lashes out at her on the phone to stop calling him because he now has a girlfriend. Adana looks surprised to hear this from him and starts looking around to see the girlfriend. She wonders why he was harsh with Lola, and he explains that he is following her instructions. She tells him she is not his girlfriend, but instead of getting angry, he asks her if she wants to be his girlfriend. To Adana, it will not work because of the distance, but he strongly believes they can make it work. Seeing how she feels so distant from him, he asks what she is trying to run away from. She reveals that she is trying to run away from empty promises. They are about to shout at each other, and people around them are already staring. Adil now understands that she failed her project on purpose despite them working together on it. He gets an A while she gets a D. He asks her what she wants to run back to Ibadan to meet, but she avoids answering the question and walks away to prepare her report alone. In the next scene, Adana resumes where she is posted. She goes out with her friend, who asks her about Adil. She reveals that Adil is talking about love, but she cannot give in because of the way she is. She then remembers her last night with Adil, where he tells her he will come to find her wherever she is, but instead, she says thank you as a form of goodbye to him. They still keep in touch on the phone, and Adil even suggests he get a transfer to Ibadan for her sake, but she discourages him from doing so. He insists and tells her to think about it. The next scene shows Amir explaining his predicament regarding Lola and his mother all over again to his father, who advises him to do what he must, not minding his mother's pressure. In the next scene, Adil calls Adana to tell him he is outside her house. At first, she thinks he is playing, but as she steps out to check, she sees him coming in from the gate. Seeing him surprises her, but what surprises Adil is what she is wearing. She is dressed like a clown. But just as he is about to ask a question about what she is wearing, a boy named Jaden runs out, telling her to come and play, while calling her mummy. Adil realizes that she has a son. They all go in. Adana finally comes clean to Adil about being a single mother, but he does not see it as a stumbling block, especially since he has gotten transferred to Ibadan, because he is in love with her. He confesses his love for her and would love to know Jaden more. However, Adana is scared of letting someone into her life, only for him to walk away later. Even though he assures her that he will not walk away, she believes he will, because she is a single mother and his parents will not approve of them being together. They both resumed work on Monday, and while working, Adil sends Adana a message, reassuring her of his love and that he is not going anywhere. Subsequently, he starts using different means to show his love to her, both at work and at home, by helping her with Jaden. He also takes a picture of one of their moments on the bed and sends it to her, mentioning the forever he wants with her. But she tells him that she cannot do forever with him because of his mother's stance on her situation, and she does not want him to choose between her and his family. Adil misses the Adana he met at the camp, but she tells him the camp was an escape from reality. The next scene shows Adil's mom and his aunt Kafil arriving at Adana's house. She opens the door for them and she is shocked by their presence. They give compliments on her beauty and also apologize on behalf of Adil, but Adana does not understand what is going on. They enter her house and ask for Jaden, but Adana still does not understand what is going on. When Jaden comes into the sitting room, they begin to pamper him like he is theirs. This is so puzzling to Adana until Adil comes to drag her away. He reveals that he lied to them that he has a son out of wedlock and they are there to come and see for themselves. However, Adana gets really angry. She insists he goes back and tells them the truth, but seeing he will not listen, she decides to do it herself. But getting to the sitting room, she sees they have put Jaden to sleep easily and are doting over him. This calms her, and she cannot bring herself to break their hearts at that moment. After taking Jaden to bed, Adil's mom sits Adana down to ask how she has been coping with Jaden alone, and why Adil has not been in his life. All this time, Adina could not also tell the truth, as she felt cared for, and she had been longing for that kind of welcome. Adil's mom insists she must come and visit during the weekend, leaving her no choice but to say yes. She deliberately set the date for Sunday when she is not working and promises to send a car. She is super excited about meeting Adina and Jaden and can't wait to share the news with the family. Later that night, Adil reveals to Adina that he loves her and he does not want to live without her. He confesses his love for her and pleads with her to let him make her happy as it fulfills him. Adina is afraid of the lie, even though she loves the love, care, and acceptance she is receiving as a result of it, but he convinces her that they will be fine. At the weekend, Adil's mom creates a welcoming party for Jaden. All through, one can still see that Adina is still a little bit scared. Later that night, Adina wonders if Adil's family would have loved Jaden if they knew he was not their grandson. Adil, on the other hand, convinces her to allow them to enjoy the present and not be bothered by what happens tomorrow. The next day, Adil's dad asks her to join him for tea in his office. While talking, he asks her if banking has been her dream, and she explains that what she wants to do is advertising. So, he promises to make calls to get her a job placement. She does not want him to at first, but his words are subtle, and she agrees with him. He also tells her to call him Papa instead of addressing him as Sir. Adina will be moving to Lagos when the month ends, and Adil's mom is seeking a way to transfer him to Lagos, as they want both of them in Lagos. While Adina is in Ibadan with her friend, she asks her about her ex, and she reveals that the last text she got from him was calling her a bitch. Her friend is happy for her because Adil and his family wholeheartedly accept her and her child, not minding that she is a single mother. However, Adina did not reveal that they lied about her son. Getting back to Lagos, Adil and Adina are at the beach when he brings the topic of having a baby. She wants them to take things slow as it seems everything is moving too fast. This response makes him sad, and he walks away. Later, Adina realizes that Adil is not happy with her, so she decides to give him a treat when he comes back from work. He enters, and she invites him to the bathroom. She then asks him the reason he loves her, but he does not have any reason and thinks he may stop loving her if she has a reason. She calls his kind of love big love. He agrees that he loves her big and that he will do anything for her, just like Papa used to say. In the next scene, it is Adil's mom's birthday. Just as the event is going on, Amir collects the mic to get everyone's attention. Then he informs Adina that Adil has something to tell her. Surprisingly, Adil proposes to her. She is still trying to wrap her head around the whole scenario when she lifts her eyes and sees someone who shocks her. She is lost in thought for some seconds before Adil taps her. She answers yes to his call, but he takes it as a yes to his proposal in excitement. Just then, Kafil warmly welcomes the guy who just entered, which is her son Amalade. It is the same person Adina is looking at in shock. They continue with the party even though Adina is still looking lost. Adil's mom and Kafil talk about when to hold the wedding. Just then, they notice Adina is not looking too good, but she claims she is fine. Amalade starts talking gradually to Adina by asking if she is fine and if they have met before. While asking all these, she does not respond to him. However, when Adina is invited by Amir to go and look for Adil, she calls Jaden along to find his dad. This makes Amalade wonder if truly Adil is the real dad. He then starts recollecting that he knows Adina, and she has been about being responsible for a child who now turns out to be his cousin. The family is thrown into confusion as he explains how he met Adina, how they got intimate, and how she calls him severally after she got pregnant for him. At this point, Adina is quiet, sad, and confused. Adil walks in at this point asking what is happening, but Adina stands angrily, telling him she warned him about what is happening. She takes Jaden and leaves the party. Amir then explains what transpired to Adil, and he starts fighting Amalade, knowing he is the guy who abandoned and ghosted Adina. Papa comes out of the house and stops the fight. Later that night, Adil tries to talk to Adina, but she locks the door sobbing. The next day, Adil's family have a meeting. Adil informs them that Adina has left. Kafil has suddenly become concerned. She is worried that she left with her grandson since Amalade is her son. This brings up arguments between her and Adil's mom. Adil confesses that he fabricated the lie and forced Adina to go along with it because of the love he has for her. He was not aware that the guy who impregnated her was his cousin. Kafil keeps forcing the statement that Lade is the child's father. Arguments ensue and Adil confessed that the reason he lied was because he knew his mom would not accept her since she is a single mother, but she claims she will. He reminds her of what she put Kafil through because she was a single mother. While this is going on, Amir brings out his phone to show that the video of their fight is trending online. This leads to another fight between Adil and Amalade. In the next scene, Adina goes to work and informs her boss that she needs some time away to clear her mind. Adil tries to reach out to her to no avail. She sees the comment online and is weighed down by it. The next scene shows Kafil scolding his son for sending derogatory messages to Adina when she informs him that she is pregnant. At least he should have done a DNA test knowing he got intimate with her. She believes that he should know better being from a broken home. She insists that he will compulsorily fix the whole mess. But after all is said, he still insists the baby is not his, making his mom angry. Adil finally meets Adina at her friend's place. He tries talking to her, but she tells him it is over between them. She is not ready to listen to what he wants to say because she does not want anyone to take her son away from her. Adil returns to his brother after trying all he could to get her back. He is tired of chasing Adina, and he is done because she has made it clear that she is done with him. When he leaves, Amir then sends a message to his dad that Adil needs them. While Adina is with her friend, she reveals that Jaden is asking after Adil, and he thinks he traveled for work. Just then Papa calls her. She wants to ignore the call, but her friend forces her to pick up. He asks if he can visit Jaden, and apologizes for invading her space. He believes her home is with his family. All these words make her emotional. In the next scene, while Adina is at work, she sees a video online from Adil's family apologizing for the mess they caused by their reactions, and how it affects her psychologically. This brings a smile to her face. Later in the day, while she is in the kitchen, Jaden picks up her phone to call Adil. Adil picks up the call and Jaden invites him to his school for the Father's Day event. After some persuasion, he promises to attend the event. Adina eavesdrops on their conversation. Adina is in love with him and has been living miserably since she separated from him. So, her friend advises her to go after Adil since he is not chasing her again. In the next scene, while Adina is driving, she calls Adil to invite him to Jaden's Father's Day, but he feels like it is a bad idea and drops the call. This makes her cry. On Father's Day at Jaden's school, Adina is there to celebrate and cheer on her son. When it's time to go home after the presentation, Adil shows up surprisingly. She appreciates him for coming and he reveals he is leaving as soon as he comes. She does not want him to leave but cannot find the words to make him stay. When Adil comes down the stairs, he sees a shocking scene. He sees his own family with signs raised telling him to ask her to marry him again. This shocks him and even Jaden runs to join them. Adina expresses her love for him, apologizing for not being able to handle his big love. She is now ready to love him big if he asks her again to marry him. Before she finishes her statement, he asks her to marry him again and kisses her deeply. The family cheers them on for their love, as they also conclude the child is theirs.